The next one we're on is from JackFrags. Apparently, this is super funny. Call of Duty just trolled all of the hackers. So Call of Duty did something crazy to the hackers in their game. So let's see what's going on here with this.
Call of Duty has just revealed some hilarious ways in which they troll cheaters in COD Warzone, and whilst we've seen a little bit of this before, the new measures that they've implemented here are incredibly funny, and I think that they will definitely annoy people who want to cheat and hack their way through multiplayer games. They also talked in detail about these little devices called Cronus's, Strike Packs or Zims, and these things enable console players to cheat. They talked about how they're detecting them, how many they've detected, and how many people have actually stopped using them now. It's really interesting stuff. And this time they actually went a bit more in depth into these systems and also why they do it, because I think a lot of people see and hear this kind of stuff and they go, well, why don't they just ban them? And we will take a look at that too. So the first way that they're trolling hackers now is that they place decoy characters within the game called hallucinations, and these can only be detected by cheaters that have been specifically flagged by the anti-cheat. These false characters are undetectable by legitimate players, and they cannot impact a legitimate player's aim, progression, end of match stats, or overall gameplay experience. So for the normal player, they're invisible, they're not even there. But for cheaters, it's going to mess with them and disorient them in a variety of ways. And they said that these can be deployed both as a method of mitigation for verified cheaters or in secret as a detection for suspicious players. So if someone's been reported a lot and there's actually something weird going on, they could test if that player's cheating by putting a few hallucinations in their game and seeing if they try to shoot at them or interact with them. Because, get this, hallucinations look, move and interact with the world like a real player. These are not AI, they're not bots, but a clone of an active user in the match, which mimics their movement to trick a cheater into believing that the character they're seeing here is a real player. And in that image that I've been showing you, one of...
Okay, but these are players that could be like falsely flagged, right? So, like, let's say you are a streamer and you get reported heavily because you're a streamer. Who's that girl, like Nadia, that everybody says is always cheating, right? So she's obviously going to see these mimics because of a bunch of people on the internet are going to false flag her. So if she interacts with it, I'm confused. Why would that matter if I'm being seen, if I'm seeing something just because I was false flagged? Is it the way you interact with it? I mean, the video's 10 minutes long, so he might touch on it.
One of them's a real player, one of them's a hallucination, and it's simply impossible for cheaters to know at first glance which one is real. And the hallucinations also trigger the same information that cheaters would have access to using nefarious tools like aimbots, wall hacks, etc., meaning that their cheats are triggered by the hallucinations, which is going to catch them out.
You can't see them if you're a legit player, but he just said that they were going to use this system for suspicious players as well. Only a script would see these phantoms. That's so interesting. I guess he hasn't explained how. They just said that that's how it would work. But
can also be hidden and positioned anywhere relative to a suspicious player in the world. And in this picture here, we can see the anti-cheat team has placed a hallucination near someone they think is cheating, a suspicious player. Therefore, if the cheater engages with that hallucination, that confirms that they're a cheater. And this one in particular, I think, is really important because it's super clever. It can actually catch non-rage hackers, and I've talked about this in my video before. People who don't rage hack are often the ones that don't get banned but still continue to play the game. The people that are experienced cheaters and they keep on top of the ban waves, they keep updating their software. Maybe it's a cheat that's just developed for them or a small group of people.
Hacker?
And as long as they don't rage hack, as long as they don't go turn the aimbot on and crank it up to 1000, locking onto people through walls, no recall, etc., that's really easy for the anti-cheat to analyze that data. As long as they don't do that, and just maybe, you know, toggle the wall hack on every now and again to see where people are and ultimately win games, then those are the kind of cheaters that are incredibly difficult to catch. But these hallucinations will actually get them. Because if there's a player who just toggles on a wall hack every now and again, but let's say they've been reported a lot, so the system flags them, puts hallucinations in their game, and they go ahead and interact with one of those hallucinations. Ladies and gentlemen, we got...
See? You've been reported a lot, and then you interact with them, but you're the only one who sees them. That's what I don't understand.
And I think that's so smart the way that they've done that. They next gave us an update on these dodgy devices that people use with controllers on console to enhance their aim assist, get rid of recoil completely.
Yeah, because in that case, they were showing like a wall hack, right? Yeah, their hack programs think it's real. Gotcha.
Etc. And here's what they had to say. In our previous report, we detailed the new detection for the malicious use of third-party hardware devices. Today, we want to examine the results that we saw within the first 2 weeks of the detection being live. Within the first 2 weeks of launching, we saw a 59% drop in any use of these devices across Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone. Just makes you think like how many people are using these things. And that's inclusive of Modern Warfare 2 ranked play. Warzone ranked had not launched at that moment in time. But of those users, 57% of them did not utilize the device again, whereas 43% once again attempted to use the device again and circumvent the policy. Repeat offenders and those continuing to use these devices without pause have been penalized. Malicious use of these devices may result in account suspensions up to permanent account bans. Because if you remember, I think they said if they detected them, they'd pop up a message originally saying, hey, we know you're using this. If you keep using it, we're going to ban you. So that's what they're referring to there. So some people get that message and then they just ignore it, keep using the Cronus or whatever it is, and then just get banned. Like all anti-cheat systems, the moment we announced our detections, cheat makers and cheaters work to find new ways to play unfairly. Our detection methods and systems for this detection and others have seen consistent updates, and we have multiple methods of approach to identify the use of these devices. These, like all detections, will continue to evolve and update to combat cheating. Seems that they're keeping on top of that.
Which is basically saying we know they're going to get around it again.
Because obviously firmware can be updated, drivers can be updated in the software to get around whatever Ricochet is doing. But I like to imagine that there's a secret undercover team at Team Ricochet that just pretend to be people cheating on these forums, in these discords, getting the latest data, getting the latest version of the software, and then working to make it detectable and disable it as quick as possible. Maybe it'd make for an interesting documentary one day. We'll see. Another method that they talked about using in the past was called quicksand, and this was a mitigation that would slow or freeze the movement of detected cheaters in-game, making them sitting ducks. And this was actually accomplished by just
Bro, that's so fucked up.
That's their connection delay to the game server, and to further impact a cheater's experience, quicksand could occasionally and randomly alter a cheater's input settings. So for example, it could swap analog stick controls from default to inverted. You know how difficult that is to play. Or begin reassigning map keys for mouse and keyboard settings. Someone hit by quicksand, for example, could suddenly begin to move at half speed and be forced to press their W key to move backwards rather than forwards. And this was designed to disorient cheaters, and apparently it worked quite well in testing. The other big part about this is, why do we do this? Because as I mentioned, it's logical to think, well, if someone's detected as a cheat, why don't you just ban them straight away, get them out of the game? They go into that here, but
because you want to, bro, people paid for the game. You cheat, like people cheat for all different reasons. I've never cheated in a game before. Well, that Game Genie back in the day, maybe. I think my friend Dean across the street had Game Genie. But like, since I've been playing PC games, I've never cheated before.
There's also a big admission that we're going to talk about. So here we go then. I'm going to read this to you. Why do we do this? Cheating in video games such as Call of Duty is big business, and the technology behind cheats is constantly evolving. Call of Duty is massive. I don't know if you guys have been following the Sony versus Microsoft Activision acquisition court case that's been going on.
Which is now over at the time of me watching this video. So I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but hey.
On the last couple of days, all of those documents are online now because of that court case. If you want to take a look, the numbers in there for COD are insane. It's one of the biggest games in the world by far in terms of revenue generated and in terms of the number of people playing. And because you've got this huge player base, ultimately there's going to be a percentage of players who want to cheat because it's a PvP multiplayer game. And if you're somebody who can develop cheats and you can run a website and you can run a business and update it, sell cheats to people regularly, there's a lot of money to be made there. I think I read somewhere that it's $1 billion industry at the moment. And COD,
bro, I am so bad at games like this, but watching this makes me want to play it.
Saying here, yeah, we realize this. It's a big business. And they're being transparent in the fact that they know people can make money out of other people exploiting their game and selling software that lets players cheat. But it continues as to why they do these mitigations rather than just banning them. Allowing cheaters to remain in the game in a mitigated state provides Team Ricochet with intel, while keeping cheaters occupied in the dark and unable to harm your in-game experience. The data we gather through analysis of mitigated players enhances our ability to reliably detect and ban players using similar cheat software.
That makes sense too, but also like it's kind of like if you just kick them out, you don't give them the opportunity to really like learn and try and play the game legitimately.
Cheaters are removed from matches and all the accounts are permanently disabled across titles as outlined in our security and enforcement policy.
Listen, like I'm not very good, or I end up like desk smashing so much in games like this, but watching other people play them definitely makes me want to play it.
Mitigation data shows our detections are doing a better job of protecting the game. In Modern Warfare 2, for example, we mitigated 4 players for every 1 report. That means on average, for every 1 cheater our community reports in game, our detections also mitigate 3 accounts detected of cheating before they're able to impact our community's experience.
Put cheaters against other cheaters.
Basically, they're saying that they'll employ the mitigations on a cheater, gather intel, gather information about the cheats that they're using, and then ban them in the next game, or while they're in that current match when they feel like they've got enough data from them. It's an interesting way of tackling the situation, and there's always going to be people who just say, why don't you ban them straight away as soon as you know? But maybe COD is too big to do that, and the way they're doing it now, where they're sourcing data from the cheaters instead before banning them, maybe that'll work out better in the long run. Just makes me a bit sad, you know, to think how many people are actually cheating in these online PvP games.
It's insane.
Oh well, life goes on. There's also another bit in the blog about how they're changing spam reporting, because that can be abused apparently to put innocent people in shadow bans if enough people report them in a certain amount of time, whatever. So something's changing there too. But for now, I mean, it sounds like that they're trying to keep on top of it and invent new ways to deal with cheaters. I mean, my experience in Warzone 2, just from memory, there were 2 occasions where I was playing against someone who was clearly wall hacking based on the kill cam, and then spectating them after for a bit to confirm it, kind of thing. And a couple of rage hackers in DMZ, but for the most part, I haven't really seen that many rage hackers at all. So I think they're doing a pretty good job. Although, saying that, I don't play anywhere near as much Warzone 2 as I did Warzone 1. So my playtime isn't as long, so maybe I'm not running into as many cheaters because of that. Who really knows? Just sucks that we have to ask ourselves that question. But with that said, that's all for today, folks. Do let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Appreciate you being here. Drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Damn, that was cool. That was a cool match. Also, that's just a cool way of handling it. I mean, we saw lots of weird scenarios with cheaters on in SC recently, right? So CIG is gonna have to figure out how to deal with that, and I think this might be a very, very interesting way of dealing with it, right? Very active protection and very ongoing protection to stay on top of things and everything. I think it's cool. So very, very neat. Thank you, Jack.